Hey everybody, welcome back to some more live coding. Today we're going to talk about D3.js. And D3.js is all about data-driven documents. Pretty sure the D3 stands for the DDD, data-driven documents. And it's a JavaScript library for making data visualizations. And a lot of them are interactive. Some of them just output static images, and they have a whole bunch of different graphs. Like, look at this one. Just look at this. Like, wasn't that awesome? I don't know why I would use this, but it's awesome. But there are a lot of practical ones, and they've got a lot of map views and all kinds of things. These are called chords. So you've got things like this. You've got things like this. I think this is a hypertree, a tree map. This is like what you would do if you wanted to do a Win-dir stat clone. And so down here at the bottom you can see, you basically just fill out the data, and then you use the API to generate whichever kind of visualization you want. So I've never used it. I've never actually used it, and I just want to explore it and see what it's all about. So learning Vue.js is what we did yesterday. Today it's data visualization with D3.js. Basically, the agenda is going to be installing and how to use, and then we're going to explore the available graphs, and then we'll do maybe a few examples, and hopefully that'll give us kind of a feel for how to use it, and then it'll just be another tool in our belt. You know, if we ever need to do some data visualization, we'll be comfortable popping out this library and whipping up a graph. Look at these. They even have animated ones on a map. So let's see, let's try documentation. D3.js is a JavaScript library for visualizing data using web standards. D3 helps you bring data to life using SVG, Canvas, and HTML. D3 combines powerful visualization and interaction techniques with a data-driven approach to DOM manipulation, giving you full capabilities of moderns and the freedom to design the right visual interface for your data. So let's see, there's the introductions that we just read. Hold on, I'm going to open introduction, an API reference, and then I'm going to open examples and tutorials, but I'm going to take a look at gallery first. Welcome to the D3 gallery. More examples are available for forking on observable. What is this? The Magic Notebook for visualization. Pass. Visual index. Box plots. Bubble charts. Bullet charts. Calendar view. Cartograms. Chord diagrams. Dendograms. Cluster dendogram. See, half the battle with this is just learning which visualizations are available, so that you know which one to call upon when you have a certain type of data set. Because if you don't know what's out there and what's available, then you're not going to know which visualization will help you learn something from your data. So Dendogram looks like a pretty nice one. That looks like I could see a lot of practical use cases for this. This looks kind of like a mind map you could make too. Force-directed graph. See, you gotta remember all these names. At least figure out which ones are out there so you can come back and look them up. A force-directed graph. That's kind of cool. That one would be good if you were doing like GitHub commits. History, circle packing, stacked bars, Sunburst, node link tree map. That's a really good one too. There's a lot of use cases I could see for a tree map. So actually, I'm gonna jot down a couple of these. Tree map is one that I'd like to kind of solidify. And hold on a second. What's the difference between tidy tree and a dendrogram? Tidy trees are typically more compact than cluster dendrograms. Okay, no. I'm gonna go with dendrograms. And what I'm gonna say is review these data viz types. So when we go to try out one of them, maybe we'll try out one of those stacked grouped bars. Right now I'm just kind of looking through, giving you guys some idea of what's out there, learning myself what kind of possibilities we have. A lot of these are really nice. Circle packing. This one could be really useful too. The area of each leaf circle in the circle packing diagram is proportional its value. Here, its file size. Although nested circles do not use space as efficiently as a tree map, the wasted space better reveals the hierarchical structure. And it does. This is pretty interesting. This is a very interesting way to visualize your file system size. What else do we have here? A Voronoi diagram. Bubble maps. Parallel coordinates. Scatter plot matrix. Zoomable pack layout. Gears. That's interesting. Epicyclic gearing. Oh, look at those. That's really interesting. I'm not sure. I'm not sure what I'd use that one for. Huh. That's really interesting. So what else do they have? Collapsible force layout. So these force layouts are really interesting. We just saw another one, force-directed graph. So you've got a force layout and a force-directed graph. And you can see, so I guess the force graphs are the ones that cluster things together in groups and spread them out automatically. That's really nice. So what else do we have here? Area chart, a Sankey diagram, fisheye distortion, hive plot, co-occurrence matrix of motion chart. Just look how many things there are. A word cloud. That one's cool. Huh. So just like, look at all the possibilities with this library. So, it looks like there's a lot of things. Build your own graph. Force editor layout. Huh. Look at this, you could even just build one dynamically. Okay, so this is the force editor, right? So if you put a bunch of things on one, I guess it should spread out kind of by itself. Come over here. Anyway, enough of that. It's not a game. This is data. Alright. Sankey diagram. Look at this one. Oh, cool. It has some nice interaction where it helps you see which row and column you're on. The health and wealth of nations. This one's not interactive. Oh, wait, yeah, it is. It's interactive, but I see. So you have to put your mouse over the year, and when the mouse is over the year, you can drag it. And so we can see that over time, basically the health and wealth of everybody goes up. Everybody goes up. That's awesome. And look where everybody starts. That's cool. I like that one. This is a recreation of, in D3, of Gapminder's Health and Wealth of Nations. Made famous by Hans Rosling's memorable 2006 TED Talk. That is the first thing I thought about, was the TED Talk when I saw this. Chord dependency diagram, zoomable sunburst. Oh, look at that one. You can actually zoom in and out. Wow. That's, like, isn't that slick? Okay, so let's go back to the documentation. Wow, look at this one. Oh, okay. Alright, so documentation, introduction. Read more tutorials. There we go. D3 allows you to bind arbitrary data to a DOM and then apply data-driven transformations to the document. For example, you can, and so what they mean by data-driven transformations is you just add an element to the array and the graph updates itself. You don't have to call please re-render or rebuild graph. You just modify the data and the graph's like, yep, okay, and sometimes it animates them in there like we saw a second ago. For example, you can use D3 to generate an HTML table from an array of numbers, or use the same data to create an interactive SVG bar chart with smooth transitions and interaction. So, let's see, selections. Modifying documents using the W3C DOM API is tedious. The method names are verbose, and the imperative approach requires manual iteration and bookkeeping of temporary state. For example, to change the text color of a paragraph element, you have to call paragraphs equals document.getElements by tag name P for each paragraph in paragraph's length, paragraph equals paragraph.item, paragraph style, set property color blue null. That's right, that's a lot of work. D3 employs a declarative approach, operating on arbitrary sets of nodes called selections. For example, you can rewrite the above loop as D3 select all P, style color blue. That is much cleaner, I can agree. Yet you can still manipulate individual nodes as needed. D3 select body, style background color black. Selectors are defined by the W3 Selectors API and support natively by modern browsers. Okay, good. Let's see, dynamic properties. Readers familiar with DOM frameworks such as jQuery should immediately recognize similarities with D3. Good. Yet styles, attributes, and other properties can be specified as functions of data, not just as simple constants. Despite their apparent simplicity, these functions can be surprisingly powerful. The D3 geopath function, for example, creates a new geographic path generator. For example, projects geographic coordinates into SVG path data. D3 provides many built-in reusable functions and function factories, such as graphical primitives for area, line, and pie charts. Interesting. So they give you a toolkit to build your own graphs really easily. They give you pie slices, arcs, lines, areas, curves, custom curves, links, symbols, stacks. Oh, very cool. So they give you a lot of tools to even build your own. I guess that's the same kind of tools. That's the same toolkit they probably use to make all their graphs. Okay. For example, to randomly color paragraphs, D3 select all paragraphs, color, map random. Okay. Vyas says, hi. Hi, Vyas. Sorry if I'm saying that wrong. Welcome. So let's see, enter and exit. So hold on a second. Let's find... Okay. Okay, that's a nice introduction. Tutorials. Introduction. That's what we just read. Simple bar chart. Oh, this was the Scrimba. The Scrimba is really cool. I discovered this yesterday when I was doing the Vue.js stuff. It's basically a website where it's recorded. So it's a video that's recorded, but you can pause it and you actually can mess with the code that the instructor is playing with in the video. So you can watch them type it out in the video, but you can just pause it at any time and be like, wait, hold on, pause, open, I want to edit it, and start running it. And then start changing things. Like, let's just delete that whole entry right there. Did I save it? Did I break it? Well, you get the idea, right? How it's supposed to work. It's reloading the wrong browser. Hold on. I'm not too familiar with it, and they said it still is in beta. So I'm not sure exactly how to use it, but I don't want that one either then. Tutorials, let's see what else they got. 3 little circles, thinking with joins, how selections work. Setup, let's see. Scott Murray, alignedleft.com. About these tutorials. These addressed an older version. Let's see the newer version. I guess you have to get it on O'Reilly. Well, let's see. How about Introduction to D3 from 2011? It's a little old. This looks pretty cool. Yeah, no pixel. It does look pretty cool. That's why I wanted to try it out. And let me just go to examples. I think that's going to be the best bet here. Let's try out the tree map. No, they have a better one up here. Zoomable tree map. Oh, look, fancy that, look at that. Okay, so they should, I thought they had the examples. Okay, tree map. Here we go, this one's got the code at the bottom. So let's see if we can get this to work. So here's all the data. Oh, there's where it's pulling the data from, so it looks like we can use it too. So I want to figure out how exactly to get it to work. So I'm assuming you have to... Let's close project. Let's create a new project. We'll do HTML5 boilerplate, and we'll call it D3.js examples. Alright, so now we have... Okay, let's go ahead and set up our node interpreter. Alright, hold on. Run npm install? No. I thought I told you which node. Let's use... It's going to be node modules / .bin, right? Now let's see. npm install -g eslint. I probably didn't need to do this whole boilerplate thing. I should have just started up a plain old HTML file, but we'll see how this works. So... Sorry about my squeaky chair. Samples. So I want like a quick getting started one, and I'm surprised that this wasn't a little more straightforward. Like 1, add script.js to the top. 2, create a div. 3, bind it, you know? That's what I was looking for. And I'm guessing that's pretty much the steps. Okay, ESLint, will you please stop bothering me? Package directory expected? Just go away, I don't want ESLint. I don't even want you. Enable, go away. There we go. So, D3.js, download. Where do I download it? Is it under releases? Release 592. Let's download the zip, d3.zip. Alright, d3zip. Let's open it. Let's extract it here. D3.js, there we go. There it is, d3.min.js. There's a README and an API. There we go. Okay, so let's copy this d3.min.js over to our JS examples, put it in the JS folder, go in here, and then we'll just make a link to it. Script source equals js/d3min.js. And then we've got a main file. This is where we can put all of our code. So, I forget now, am I supposed to build this? So maybe choosing this boilerplate was a bad idea. HTML5 boilerplate is a professional front-end template. Yeah, it should just be like a regular old HTML, but I guess they packed in all of this, like, we've got the modernizer, and the slim, and the shiv, and the squish, and the pack, and the flux, and they've even got Google Analytics ready. Yeah. Okay. I don't want all that. I don't want all that at all. I'm gonna open Visual Studio Code. I'm gonna do this. Make dir D3, cd D3 code here. Now I'm gonna create an index.html, and I'm gonna do HTML body, and then I'm gonna do script source equals, and I guess I wonder if they have it up on D3.js CDN, so I can just import it from wherever they. Now the question is, do I trust CDN.js? Yeah, sure. Go ahead and run code on my browser. Okay. What? HTTP dot server. Okay, so it should find index.html. Hi. Let's just confirm. Yep, cool. And then in the console, doesn't look like there's any problems. The character encoding? Sure. Okay, so now that we have that, I guess we need to give it a div to work on. So we'll call it div id equals d3 main, and we'll just put whatever, we'll just attach our graph to that div. So then, where's our tree map? Here we go. Okay, so what Oh, this isn't actually code. I think this is run cell. Hold on, what does that do? Let's see if we can find a good example. I'm surprised. So like they have this whole thing full of tutorials, but I didn't really want to go through a video. So let's see if we can maybe find one. Okay, yeah, so here we go. You import D3, you give it a div. Here, let me make it bigger. So yeah, you import it, you create a div, you got a script, you call D3 select, and then you set the attributes on it. Okay. Interesting. Okay, so you call D3 select, and then you grab the div, and then in this case we're saying add an SVG to it that has attributes width and height of 100. And that's just going to be the frame. So let's try that by itself. Let's see, let me get rid of all this. So if we say, yeah, sample, so we're just going to call this SVG, or we'll call it our graph, or viz, I guess, sure, why not. So, but we want to put it on our ID of D3 main. So let's append, let's see. And just to check things out, so in the head, let's add a head, and let's add style. Then I think we could just drop it in here, is that right? So we can do, so I just want to see, okay, so we don't see the div that it created yet. Okay, but we do see here, if you look, it's kind of hard to see in the bottom, but we have our div D3 ID D3 main, and inside we do in fact have our SVG with the width and height of 200. So it did create the block element. Now let's go back into our code, and why don't we also say dot add true and set the background color to green. Well, I guess we should put green. Okay, maybe we should try RGB. Interesting. So it doesn't like that. Apparently I have to say more like that. There we go. Okay. So we're getting there. We created an SVG, and now we can do something with it. In this case, we can do something like append a circle. So why don't we try doing something like that? So here we've got our viz block, and why don't we, a circle? Can we do a square? It's probably going to complain about the radius. Let's try a circle. There's the circle. Okay, so you append a circle, so let's go back and see, like, if we wanted to figure out what other things could we append besides a circle. We need to figure that out. So let's go back to the API reference. And let's see, shapes. Is this what we're looking for? So here's where we did a circle. There it is, spherical shape, circle, boom. Generates a piecewise circle as a polygon. Okay, so spherical shapes, we got a circle there. What else do we have? Oh wait, let's go back to shapes. So what about pies? What if we said instead, like, append a... Well, let's leave the circle there. And let's try saying, what if we append a pie? Can we just do that by itself? I'm not even going to give it any properties or anything. So let's inspect it and see there's... Okay, so there's a pie. I don't know if it actually knows what to do with that. So now let's see... Okay, let's go try and find... Here we go. Data value index start angle. Here's an example. Let's try something. So let's say... Okay, we're going to call this the pi data. And then we've got the arcs, and then we create a d3.py, and we pass it in the data. So now that we have the pi, what happens if we try to do the viz append, and we try and append that pi there? Will that work? No, that didn't work. So let's see, the first pair. Okay, so this constructs it. The second set invokes the generator on the data set. I see. Okay, so how do we actually display it? Let's go back and see if we can find an example. This is a bit tougher. I'm honestly... I thought they had good documentation, but like, as far as the first step of getting started, I'm surprised at how troublesome this is proving. And I mean, we kind of got started, and we got it rendering a circle, and we mouse over it, and it kind of does something. So, you know, hello world. But I want to do something else now. So let's see if we can find D3 SVG Doku's docs. So let's go back to the API, I guess. API reference. And we're looking at shapes. And we found pies. So we figured out how to append the circle. But how do we append the pie? So and then what? Can we just say So yeah, I'm trying to find an example now. Got an example of a pie chart. How about a tree map? Let's see. See what's this is. This doesn't seem to be like... Well, maybe that is... Okay, so if that's the chart... Let's go up here and say... Let's just wipe out that. Let's make up a bunch of space here. We'll say, okay, here's the chart. Now why... Yeah, it's like it's not valid code. It's not valid JavaScript. Yeah. This is like the output of the objects dynamically. It's not actually the code. I suppose we could look at the source. Oh yeah, that's very intuitive. Wait, what was this? There was demo? Demo? Okay. Okay, so that's how you fetch. Wait, is this basically a tutorial? What's going on? Oh, it's a demo of how to use their tool. Okay, so... They're calling D3 median, Yeah, this is a little confusing. This is a bit more intimidating than I was anticipating. So, yeah, okay, like, var line equals D3 line. Okay. Cool. I don't get it. Am I supposed to see a line? Yeah, okay. Let's see. So we've got... Let me undo that whole mess. So we know how to append a circle to an SVG. That's all we've been able to do so far. So what if we tried chords? Create a new chord layout, d3.chord. So constructs a new table, so d3.chord. Then you pass it in the data. So can we try viz.append and then like throw that in? Will it just add a chord like that? No, it does not. It breaks everything. Okay, so that didn't work either. Now, maybe it's because... Maybe it's because we already appended and told it to be an SVG. So what if instead of that we tried to say, instead of appending the SVG first and then appending to the SVG, what if we tried to append the D3 chord right to our main object? No, it didn't even show up. Yeah, so, I mean, okay, it tells me how to just create a line, but what do I do with it? Like, okay, I'll copy your line, great. Now I've got a line. Is it actually going to do anything? Like, it's not going to print the line on the screen anywhere. So, can I go back here and maybe append the line? Will it let me do that? Or do I have to do... This is an old one, but maybe it'll provide some insight. D3, select chart. Append SVG, SVG, okay. So they're still starting out that way. Add a base viz layer. Then after you add a base viz layer, you add a path layer. So you have to you do have to create the SVG first, and then and then can I append the line? Yeah, see, it's not even, in this case, like, they're actually putting in the string of circle. So yeah, there we go, there it actually created a line. I really don't like how you put in the string of the name, but I guess that's okay. Okay, so what did I want to do before? I wanted to add a pie. And it let me do that. It actually let me do the append pi before. See, it's actually there, but we have to fill out some of the variables, so let's see. Let's go back to pies. Here we go, pies. Each object, generate a pi for the given array of data. Oh yeah, let's try... Oh, we lost the matrix. Here we go. How about that? So do we just... Is the data an attribute that we append like that? Well, it accepted the data. Let's try... Data? What if we gave it all of that data? Well, I don't think that's right, because then data's gonna be 2 levels deep. Yeah, that doesn't work. So... Does their little constructor work like that? No, it doesn't. Why are their examples so difficult to get to work? Here we go. Will this work? Okay, so we've got our data and then our pi, but I'm pretty sure it's not going to let us append the pi like that. Yeah, that doesn't work. So we can't create a pi and append it, but we can append it by telling it to append the string pi. This is not very intuitive. Like, why did they show you doing it like this? I guess maybe that's just the example I picked that showed me how to do it this way. But like, okay, now that you have this pi object, how the heck do you get it to show up on the page? Okay. These documentations are just like... I wish they just had a quick start that was like 1, 2, 3, here you go. And now I can't even get my way back to the docs. Hold on. Documentation. Okay, like the introduction tells you how to style elements arbitrarily. Okay, it tells you how to do more styling. Okay, cool. I know how to set styles. Okay, so that's how you set the data. That's how you set the style. Okay, now I don't just want to change the color of a P. Here we go. No, transitions. Select all circle transition. Okay, yeah, so their introduction is like not very helpful at all. It doesn't tell you how to actually start, like, just pop in a graph. It tells you how to change the color of paragraphs. And that's like the least valuable thing I can do with D3.js is change the paragraph colors. Like, show me how to make a bar graph. And they've got all these tutorials, but yeah, like I don't want to go through the video. Maybe I can just skip to the end here and look at their code that they have. Okay, show browser. Still trying to figure out how this Scrimba thing works. And like, how come this doesn't update when I change the code? Okay, so here we go. D3 select chart. Select div. append. Okay, I'm trying to understand what's going on here. Select chart. Okay, so it's selecting the chart, and then it's selecting the divs, and then it's setting the data on the divs, and then it's entering and appending, and then setting the style. Okay, so this is building one from scratch by styling divs. Okay. Excuse me, I'm gonna grab a drink of water and tend to this dog. I will be right back in just a minute. Okay, I'm back. So where were we here? Trying to figure out how to get a simple bar graph going. I thought I would just be able to pop in some numbers and say bar graph go. But apparently it's not that simple. So these examples are all so incomplete. They're like, hey, here's how to make a line, but we're not going to tell you, like, okay, or you can use it to render on a 2D canvas. D3 core, okay. So I'm sorry, hold on 1 second. Alright, sorry about that, I'm back. Okay, so yeah, this is a bit frustrating, honestly. The documentation, I mean, I don't want to talk bad about it, but like, the introduction is, I mean, unless that's the idea, is the whole idea that you build your own graphs? I don't understand why they have this massive library of things if the only thing they're going to teach you how to do is change background colors on divs yourself. And, like, I wish I could actually get the code. Like, if this is supposed to be the code, am I just being really stupid and I don't understand how to use this? Like, maybe I don't need that whole outer layer. So then let's clean up and delete all of that. And okay, so it at least recognizes it as a valid code now. And this is basically everything. So there's a root. And then root gets used where, so D3 select DOM SVG. So they create SVG here, but I created one. No, I didn't. So then what do I do? Do I do viz.append the SVG? No, that didn't work. So I guess what I want to do here is say D3 select. So what it's doing here, I guess it's selecting main and it's appending an SVG like that. So this is kind of repeating what's going on here. So that is our viz. So maybe if we renamed that one to SVG, then no. That sure didn't do it. Oh, well, I guess we don't really have any data yet, do we? What if we just gave it some stupid numbers? No. Select all G's. Well, we don't have any G's, do we? Let's see. Vigneshaw says, don't watch the clock, do what it does, keep going, love your work. Oh, thank you. Appreciate that. Yeah, you know, I mean, struggling is part of it. Some nights I breezed through the things. Last night, the Vue.js documentation was great, and we were able to go through it and learn everything we needed to, and the documentation answered like every question right as I had it. Stripe was a really good API, really good documentation too. Braintree, not so good. This D3.js, pretty disappointed, I have to say. I really just need to understand and tie together what's going on here with these appends. Like, they're doing it three different ways. They're doing a select and then an append SVG string, and then but the other way they're doing it here is like, where is it? Yeah, they're saying select, and then they're just kind of arbitrarily dropping in the SVG. So instead of saying append SVG string, they're actually creating an object, which is what makes more sense to me, is actually creating the object. And that's why I don't like this string here, because it's like, okay, what you're really doing is creating an SVG object, so why can't we just treat you like an object? So let's see. But yeah, just like struggling is part of reality, and I think it's good that people do see the struggles sometimes, and they understand, like, even someone who is very experienced can get very frustrated and still get stuck. And I feel like I'm just flailing around right now. Like, I really don't know where to go. They had all those tutorials, but like none of them really explain what I want. Like, this doesn't help me tie together what's going on in my in my page here. Like, all I've been able to do is get the circle to show up. That's it. Hey, Spudley. Welcome. See, like, here's an example of how to create an arc. Okay. Now, you would think that the same way you did viz.append circle, and then give it, what was it, the attribute of the, give a radius and things like that. See, there's a circle. Boom. Okay, I just made a circle attached to it. Now you'd think, okay, you create an arc, then you should be able to do something like viz.append arc. But no, it doesn't work that way with an object. You can't actually append the object. You have to, like, tell it. And this is what's confusing me right now. Like, this is what the examples say. They say, hey, here's an arc. Cool. Like, okay, great. But where do I put it? Alright, let's forget the official documentation now. Let's go to this Medium blog post. Okay. This is exactly what I would expect. This here. Step 1, add the script. Step 2, select something. Like, this is what I expect from the official tutorial. Okay, creating SVG elements. Okay, great. This is, I've got here. I got to here. Now, well, thank you. Creating a bar chart. Okay, same thing. Okay, so it tells you to make your own bar chart. If I wanted to build my own bar chart, I just, like, I guess bar charts are just, like, below, they're just beneath D3.js. They're like, oh, you need a bar chart? Go get a kid's library. Like, you want a bar chart? Build it yourself. We do chordal integration diagrams with bubble layout, zoom, float, force layouts. Not bar graphs. Get out of here with your bar graphs, kid. Okay, event handling. So see, this is kind of what I was expecting. You just fill out the data like this, and then you call chart render. Like, that's it. That's what I was expecting, but I was very, very wrong. And so this one really doesn't do anything except copy that other tutorial that showed you how to append a bunch of divs and color them. Which is okay, I guess. I mean, let's try it out. So if we create a bar, so that one should attach it to the SVG that we already have, because we have an SVG item at that point. Data, yeah, so we're actually gonna need some data. So why don't we just say, okay, so we actually have the rectangles being created in the DOM. We can see the rectangles, but they have no styling or anything. Data's data. So, yeah, okay. What if we take out the circle? So where are they? How come they're all like 0 Oh, that's the width. Okay, so the width, this is what's actually converting to the width. Okay. How come they're all actually 0 width? Width, function D, return D. Okay. Let me try plugging in their stuff there. There we go. So, what do we have to do here? What's going on? Hey, Mythic. Welcome. What? Okay. So we have to select... I wonder if we can... Will that work still? That does work. Okay, so instead of saying select SVG, because we already have the object that we appended the SVG to, so we could also just say viz. Okay. Viz select all rectangles dot data dot enter dot append a rectangle with this width and this height. And then the transform, I guess, slides it over. The transform slides it over to the right so that, because without the translate, then yeah, they actually, they basically go off the screen. You can't see them. Okay, so that's not, to me this is not very intuitive. This is not something I go, oh, okay, no problem. I need to whip up a bar graph. I just need to D3 select the SVG, select all data data, enter, append a rectangle, attribute, 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 attribute. This is, okay, and it's too bad because they don't show you how to actually use, in this tutorial, any of the actual graphs that they provide for you. They just show you how to color some divs. And really all I want is like, to create one of these cool graphs. And I want to be able to copy and paste an example. That's really all I want. I really want them to give me this example and let me copy and paste it. But... fork? No, I don't want to sign in with GitHub. So if you go down here, it kind of shows you... I mean, I guess it does show you the code, but it's just like, it's kind of clunky for me to try and get it to work. So in this case, this would be like this. And the way it separates this data here, like this is the data, right? Like this is the data by itself. And if I try and do all of this, it just complains. Let's see. D3.js example. Another bar chart, I swear. Is this just another ripoff of all the other tutorials we saw? It is. It's straight up just like another ripoff of the bar graph tutorial. Someone please just show me how to make a tree map. Hang on, dog. Okay, D3.js working example. Define variables, append text, create scale. Okay. Another ripoff of the bar graph made out of divs. Seriously? Why is this so hard to find a tutorial of like actually using one of these hundreds of graphs they have available? And I must be stupid because it's like they give you the example at the bottom, but the way they lay it out and provide it, like, is this supposed to be a module that you have to export? Because if you drop this in as code, it just doesn't work. It's like, sorry. Let's see here. And I'm really not like a JavaScript master, so let's see, like, when you do this chart equals blank, then it's like, hey, whoa, no, this isn't how you define stuff. So you can unwrap it. And I guess you could say, okay, it's a function, so it should be more like that. Chart equals the output of all of that, so it's a function. And then, so what do I do with that SVG that it returns? Okay, so I got an SVG node. Now, it already does a select up here. Do I need to do another select on my div? And say like select D3 main.append chart? Like that? Is that how it works? Please. Please, oh wizards of D3, grant me your wisdom and let me figure out what you meant with this. No. Nope. Nothing. Okay, what if I just called chart? Is that just gonna do some magic for me? No. Okay, let's see. Let's see if we can find some examples. Hey, a bar chart. Oh no, this is the same one. Examples. Okay, chord diagram. Source code. Yes, source code. Okay. Let's see. This is from 2011. This is probably an old example. So Mythic says bl.ox.org has examples. Yeah, that's apparently where I just was. So Jezzball. Oh, I used to play this game all the time. This game was awesome. Oh, apparently the right click doesn't work. How do you change the right click? Okay, so what's going on here? Okay, import the script. Forms. JS, okay. Yeah, that's a little too advanced for what I want to do right now. Let's see, is there a bar graph that actually just uses some kind of bar graph? So let's see, I just want to figure, okay, so they're selecting the body, appending an SVG, that's fine. So then what are they doing with this SVG? Appending a G? So what is a G? D3.js G element. Let's see. What is G? It appends a G element to the SVG. G element is used to group SVG shapes together. Oh, so it's a group. Got it. A group. I'm not familiar with SVGs too much either, so that is probably hindering my understanding. I probably need a solid understanding of SVGs to really grasp what's going on under the hood, and then to be able to like create my own bar charts understandably. Okay, so it's just a group, that's all it is. There's nothing special about it. So then they append a group, okay, and then they append some text. And then that's it? Where's the rest of it? Security executions code says, can you live bug bounties? Can you live bug bounties reply me? Maybe sooner or later I'll do some live bug bounties. I've been working on a bug bounty browser extension in some of the streams, but I'm probably not going to do like actual live bug bounty hunting. The problem that I see with live bug bounty hunting is that if you find something, you've essentially just irresponsibly disclosed it to the whole world. And I see that as a problem. Because the whole idea with the bug bounties is you submit it to the company discreetly and quietly so that they can fix it. And part of the agreement is that you don't go tell the world before you do it. So I'm not sure how well that works. I can probably cover some techniques, like how to actually do port scanning, how to do web crawling, and my bug bounty tool will do that. But I probably won't actually do live bug bounty hunting on a production site for a company. Because I don't want to find something and they'll be like, oops, I just showed the whole world there's a code execution vulnerability on this website. They probably wouldn't be happy. They probably wouldn't pay the bounty. But techniques and stuff, yeah. I'll be covering techniques some more and tools. But okay, so I've learned a lot about this library. Even though I didn't get very far, I still learned a lot. So I think the important thing I learned is that it all revolves around these SVGs. And you really gotta get familiar with them. And it looks like you really spend most of your time building your own graphs and building your own visualizations. Now, apparently they do have a ton of them available, but I mean, sheesh, I'm having a lot of trouble with these, even with these ones where they basically provide the example for you. So I definitely wouldn't call this a beginner library. It's not something I'd recommend for like a day one programmer. Even I'm struggling with this. So yeah, like all the examples are basically them building their own visualizations out of SVG. They're not just like bar graph, go. So I think if you really just want something like that, there's better options. So have chart.js, I think is a popular one. High charts, I think you have to pay for that one though. Yeah, they have, you actually pay for high charts. Canvas.js. So yeah. Here we go, basic charts. So yeah, if you just need like a real simple pie chart, bar chart, line chart, something like that, it looks like one of these libraries is going to be better. See, because this is really what I was expecting. I was expecting, here's the data, here's some values and some labels, and we tell you we want a pie, and you just give us some variables like how big you want it, and then you just call, you know, new chart. Like that. But nope. It's way more involved than that. So, I guess that's the lesson of today, is that D3.js is not for simple graphs. If you just need simple graphs, don't pick it. D3.js is if you have some serious visualization needs that don't fit anything that you need out of the box, like these. Yeah, if you need a plot graph, use something like this. That's my advice. If you need something... If you need something like this, go with D3.js. Okay. So that's interesting. I'm gonna look up... Let's see, there was one thing on Scrimba, and maybe that's where I will leave the recommendation. So, simple bar chart, scales, creating SVG elements, creating a pie chart. So yeah, do they actually use a pie? How do they do this here? SVG append, then you create the pie, you create the arcs. Okay, arc equals select all arcs. Path, pie. Yeah, this is way more complex than I was anticipating. Let's scroll back to the end. Let's see. So there's the data up at the top. SVG equals data select SVG. Okay, so this is what we always... It's like as far as we get. SVG. Okay, then you append a group to the SVG, and then pie. Okay, so you don't just append the pie to the SVG? Where do you put that pie? Oh, you put. Okay, so you have to select the arcs, and then pass the arcs the data of the pie with the data, and then enter and append G's. Yeah, this is really not intuitive. This is something you really have to dive in deep and understand. This is not, hey, I've got an array of 10 numbers, make me a bar graph, go. So, let's see. I think this is probably the place I would recommend if you actually wanna go through it and like take the time to learn all of these steps and learn exactly how it works. Scrimba here because of the way that it lets you basically pause it and then go into the code and look around. So let's see, we're at an hour and 20 minutes. I'm sorry we didn't get more graphs in with this, but I'm glad some of you got to actually see what it's like to struggle and not do very well when learning a new tool. So I'm not going, because I think to achieve the next level of understanding, to be able to create my own SVG graphs, is going to be a little beyond the scope of this one sitting. So as far as next steps, what I would suggest is learning more about SVGs and planning out more time to commit to the D3 library and learning it. And that's all I'm going to leave with for now. Mythic says awesome D3. Yeah, I mean, I'm sure there's examples out there, but let's see. What do we have here in the charts? Billboard.js, reusable chart library, barline area, donut. Okay, so maybe people did make some easy to use graphs for D3. You know, that makes sense actually. Like, D3 is such a big and powerful library that it makes sense that people would build more libraries on top of it, kind of build frameworks on top of it. So maybe that's where I should have been looking, is actually for higher level libraries that actually create the simple API where you can say, hey, here's an array of 10 numbers, drop me out a pie chart, please, thank you, done. Let's see, API documentation. Let's pop open examples too. Yeah, look at those. Those are some real basic charts. That's where I was hoping to start. I didn't want to get thrown right into like, hey, create a group of SVG arcs and then start figuring out how to make that. Okay. Let's see. Basic usage example. Div ID equals chart. Okay. Generate chart. Here's some data called chart load. Okay, let's see. Billboard examples. How about bar, line, and pie, and scatter? Yeah, look at that. That is what I was kind of looking for, at least for step 1. And look at that example. That's an example I think I can actually use. Alright, let's give this one a try. So I'm gonna have to put it in here. The div is actually gonna have to go up here. And I'm gonna have to actually import the library. Now, okay. Let's try. Oh shoot! How do you do a style sheet? There we go. Okay. I guess actually we should load the D3 first before we load this one called Billboard. And then now that it's loaded, will it just work? Uh-oh. Localhost. Oh, look at that. Look at that. You see how easy that was? So easy. That's what I like. And so now we've got like a nice, simple, high-level library for simple things. Let me change that background. That background is so terrible. Okay. Very nice. Very, very nice. Okay, so Billboard. Boom. I am kind of immediately a fan of Billboard. They had simple graphs, and they had an example I could just literally copy and paste and get started with. I don't know why that felt so difficult with the other one. So what else do we got? And look, these look nice. So what else do we have here? Pie charts? Excellent. Let me try out a pie chart too. style. Let's see. Now I need to move this div of ID pie chart up here. Let's put the pie chart above the bar chart. Look at that. Yeah. Whoa. Did they actually add... Yeah, set timeout. So they actually added some functions here to set timeouts so that the chart actually changes. So you can see how the chart reacts as the data changes. You change the data and it automatically reacts. Cool. Okay, so that makes me very happy now. Now I know how to make real simple ones, and if I need to, I can dip down and make totally custom ones with the SVGs and the arcs and all that. But for most of my use cases, honestly, I don't think I need D3.js. But I still want to figure out how to do the tree map. I'm gonna have to do another sit down and figure it out. Fancy charts. So it looks like there's actually a hand. Oh, look at these. So it looks like there actually is a whole bunch of cool stuff here. This is Awesome D3 is what it's called. Yeah, and this makes a lot of sense. Like, look at all of these libraries built on top of D3. So this is where I should have been looking. I think I was looking at a lower level, essentially. And this really suits my needs for most cases, I think. So awesome. I would say try out Billboard if you need simple things. Awesome. So what's going on here? This was the bar graph. Okay, so in the data, all you do is provide the columns of type bar, and then you give it some information about the bar width, ratio, and tell it which element to bind to. Okay, and this is one of those functions that changes the data over time. Here we've got another one. This is the data for the pie chart. So down at the bottom we've got bind to ID pie chart. We've got the data where we provide the columns and the type, and then callbacks to what we want to happen on click, on over, and on out. So if we actually click on it, what happens? Oh, nothing seems to happen when we click on it. Console log on click, okay. So we could do something like you clicked. Oh, is it not working? There we go. You licked. Okay, so cool. We got callbacks on the clicks, and we could do something like actually manipulate the data. So what if we said this.data.columns equals blank? So if we click, then we completely wipe out all the data. No, that didn't seem to do it. Oh well. Maybe that's not how you properly access this data columns here. Yeah, I don't know there, but we did have access to it. We confirmed it with the alert. And on hover, on over, I guess that's the hover, and the on out when you leave it. So you can animate, like, if you wanted to, you could like animate one of the properties and make it get bigger or something when you mouse over it. Set timeout, chart load. Oh, there you go. It's called chart load. So what if we did then on click, chart load, and then just feed it an empty thing. So then would it basically unset all the data if we clicked on it? So let's let it run through its little timeout and then say click. Interesting. We can see it. It's like it's reloading because it is actually. It's like the click is having some kind of effect, but that didn't seem to be doing it. What can we say? Maybe this dot load, or what if we just made one column? Would that fix it? Oh, you know what may be happening is maybe it's not happy because it's not adding up. Oh no, that shouldn't have effect. I wonder if this click is only specific to that one column, but even if it was, then it doesn't matter because whatever I'm modifying should still be the whole thing. Well, okay. So what was it called? I already forgot what it was called. This library is Billboard.js. Billboard.js. Reusable, easy interface, JavaScript chart library based on D3. Cool. Yeah, those are pretty slick. Features: simple, D3, V4 compatible, modular, fully compatible with C3.js. I don't even know what that is. Awesome. Well, that's what I wanted to explore for tonight, so I hope you learned something and maybe you can do some exploring on your own. I appreciate everybody coming out, and Mythic, thanks for pointing me towards that repo at the end. I'm glad I got to try that one out. So thanks everybody. Tomorrow, I'm not sure what I'm going to do tomorrow, but I think it might be Selenium. I think I'm going to mess with Selenium and show how you can like take screenshots of web pages and crawl pages that have JavaScript and render them and things like that. So tune in tomorrow. If you're not already subscribed, subscribe to the channel for the daily live streams. If you're not on the Discord server already, go to devdungeon.com, go in the right column and choose Join Me on Discord. Come over and hang out and chat. Check out Security with Go, my book. Check out the blogs and tutorials on DevDungeon. You can check out code at github.com/devdungeon. And with that, I will see you all tomorrow. Have a good night, and thanks for coming out.